Hey guys, we're here with Toronto's favorite Yu-Gi-Oh judge, Tristan, who went undefeated at locals at Gopher Game with Dark World, and you also finished day 2 at YCS 250th. How do you like this deck for the format?
It's fun, it's good. I mean, it's also who you play against. Some people, they see this, they're just like, oh, I gotta sit through 20 minutes of this guy playing solitaire just to rip my hand and leave him with nothing.
All right, well, let's just get right into the list.
All right. So start with the Dark World engine. 3 Genta, 3 Snow, 1 Brow, 1 Beige, 1 Cerulli, 2 Silva, 3 Rainbow, and 2 Grappa.
Is this standard?
Some of it is, some of it isn't. Like the Genta and the Snow for sure are standard. The reason I'm playing the 1 Brow and 1 Beige is just to have extra names for the discard and also just get their extra effects off. And also the fact that Beige is at the level 4 that synergizes to get to the extra deck monsters, and also just putting their body on the board if I need to. And then the ratios for Silva and Rainbow is pretty standard. Some people cut Silva down to 1. But I feel like you definitely want 2, so if you go for something like a lure and you're forced to banish it, then you're still okay because you have another one in the deck somewhere. And then Rainbow can just fetch it out real quickly. And then Grappa, I also went to 2 because I was trying it out with 1, but I found like there's a number of times where I was either forced to banish the Grappa, whether it was off of Allure or the Fusion, or it literally, I needed a second one to actually OTK and break through boards. And having the second one to push, it's just too good. And then having the loop also with the Rainbow, just constantly bouncing and recurring all your resources, it's just too good to pass up. And that's it for the Dark World lineup. Next, the Danger lineup. 1 Tsuchinoko, 1 Jackalope, 2 Chupacabra, 2 Mothman, 2 Nessie, 1 Thunderbird, and 1 Bigfoot. Again, like, this is just my preference for the ratios. Like, some people don't play the Snake, some people don't play the Thunderbird, some play multiple Bigfoot, some play 1 Chupacabra, or 3 Mothman. I just feel like, for me, this felt like the perfect ratio, just so I had a variety of dangers. And plus the fact that once you discard it and trigger their second effect, you can't use it again. So it's like you want multiple names just so you have multiple effects you can trigger in the same turn. And also, the only one you don't want to see early on is Chupacabra, because this card sucks when you open it for turn and then it ends up getting discarded because then you have no target engraved to revive off of it, and you're just like, why me? And it's even worse when your opponent keeps sniping all the dangers and then you have no follow-up after that. Yeah. But it's really good. Like, Snake gives you the extra body, Jackalope gives you an extra body, Mothman and Choop are level 4, so not only can they give you an additional resource, but you can also use them to go for Dagaris if you need to draw more cards. And the fact that Chupacabra is also a Fiend, it also synergizes with Gates of the Dark World, because you can banish this to discard the Dark Worlds and trigger their effects as well. And then Nessie, again, I thought about playing 3, but the problem is, once you've used the search effect, if you get another Nessie, it's kind of a dead card unless you don't get sniped on it. And then playing 1 Thunderbird and 1 Bigfoot is good enough because they literally help push through boards, and then the follow-up is even better when they don't get sniped, or if they do get sniped, at least you can still pop something. And then the last 2 cards I played for the monster count, 1 Salamander Catalyzer and 1 Phantom Sky Blaster.
Okay, what's this for?
Like, Salamander is great because you reveal another green type monster, so basically any of the other Dark Worlds, and what it does is you special summon 1 and you discard the other. So like, for example, if you reveal Snow, you discard Snow, you special this, Snow gets its effect, you can grab Genta, you can grab Rainbow, you can grab Grappa or Silva if you just want to push. You can even grab Brow and Beige, so you can go for a further play if you have the extender already. And so like, this facilitates the Dark World engine so much. And again, it's a level 4, so you can go for Dagaris or the other rank 4 I play in this deck. And then Phantom Skyblaster, like I was surprised so many people weren't playing this card because this is a token generator. And the fact that you want to keep putting more bodies on the board, so when you go for higher rank plays like Soyuja, it's easier to do because one easy line is actually going for Genta here. You banish it, get the gates, you special this back off of the gates of its own effect after you banish it for gates. You normal summon this, you get 2 tokens, you make Dagaris, and then after that, you can link climb into Soyuja. And then you're already going through 6 cards at the price of 2. And like, it's so strong. And then also if you're going second, and let's say you manage to hit a danger, and then you end up with 4 bodies, and then I'll show you when I get into the extra deck, it generates more advantage. And the fact that you keep generating more advantage is what you kind of need for certain situations against like branded, cash, or even trap-based decks just to help push through their boards. Because a lot of times if you push through their boards, then you're just winning. The rest of the deck is triple gates, 1 archive, 1 accession, triple lure, 1 card destruction, 1 upstart, 1 thrust, and 1 talent. And literally I play triple gates because gates is so good, and the fact that you can keep banishing, discarding, drawing is literally one of the main engines you want to do. And it just keeps triggering all the dark worlds, get their effects online, get the dark worlds in the grave like Rappa, Rainbow. So if you have a dark world on board, you can bounce them back, start recurring your engine, and keep going. And then Allure, obviously, for the draw cards. Same with Upstart. Literally, you're playing a 39 card deck. Same with card destruction. Thing about card destruction, though, I would err on the side of caution is if you're in the mirror match or if you're afraid of a hand trap. Like, if you're at the point where you know your opponent has no hand trap and you activate this, odds are you could be allowing them to draw in the hand trap, and if they draw in the draw, then they just stroll and lock you and your turn's pretty much over at that point. And then Archives, I actually love this card, but the problem with the number of players, they don't realize because originally at YCS Las Vegas, it was being ruled for the first effect of Dark World Archives, you didn't need a Dark World on the board in order to trigger the first effect, in order to facilitate the secondary effect, which is to discard 1 and draw 2. However, after that event, following that was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Extravaganza in March. And from that point onwards, Konami made the ruling that you did need to have a Dark World on the board in order to trigger the first effect. Because otherwise, being able to trigger this card just by discarding to get a discard 1, draw 2 is just too insane. They had to put some restrictions somehow. And plus, anyway, like you have multiple ways to trigger this card. You can just activate this, and then trigger cards like Genta, discard, get the gates. This now triggers because a Fiend was discarded, and then you get the discard 1, draw 2, and now you have another potential card for gates to give you even more follow-up. It's literally about how to use this card, and people just seem to think, oh no, it's bad, it doesn't do anything. And it's literally, you're not playing it right. And all you have to do is just find a way to trigger and discard it. Like, you have the dangers, they'll trigger the Dark Worlds. Especially even like, let's say the danger is Chupacabra. Chupacabra is a Fiend. So even if it gets sniped out of the hand, you'll still be able to trigger the second effect of Dark World Archives, because the only requirement for the second effect is for a Fiend type monster to be discarded from your hand. And then a Session Fusion card, it gets your Grapha boss monster out onto the board, and the fact that you can recur it back by discarding a Dark World from your hand to the grave is nutty. And then it keeps triggering more discard effects that you can use. And then the last 2 cards I want to talk about is Thrust and Talents, because earlier on when I was playtesting, I noticed this one deck profile and the guy was playing double Talents, and I'm like looking for something. I'm like, how do you make this card live on your first turn when your opponent doesn't have any hand traps? And then I started looking through the deck and I look at the combo and I'm like, wait a second, Cerulli triggers by going onto the opponent's side of the board. So the fact that you can go Cerulli, use this effect, dump Silva, special to Silva, and then activate thrust, and you'll actually get the card to your hand because of the fact that Cerulean is on their board, and they're the ones who technically activated it. So you get double plus off a thrust, because then thrust will then get you talents, and if you've already ripped 4, you go talents, rip the last card. So they are literally playing their turn with a 1-card hand, and by that point you've already established a board they're not going to be able to play through with just 1 card. Extra deck is 1 Link Spider, Akashic, Security, Appaloosa, Sayuja. This is just your main draw engine for the hand loop to help facilitate it. It's really good. Extra deck I play are Dugaris, Cowboy, Giant Trainer. 2 of them are literally just more draw cards. And then Cowboy I put in just because I need another card to win in time in case I can't make it to Giant Trainer. And there'd be a number of times where I literally couldn't get 3 level 8 monsters on the board. So it's just also easier to go for Cowboy, get the 800, and there you go. And then 2 Grapha Fusion monsters, Mudcracker, Cerberus, Phoenix, Unicorn, Access Code. This is literally for when you're going second and you're looking to OTK. Nightmare Package in and of itself can punch through most cards, and then the fact that they also trigger the dangers when they're discarded, so it basically becomes a 2-for-1. And then Access Code is just literally there to finish the job to go for the game. 3 Denko Sekka, 3 Droll, 3 Eclipse, 3 Dark Hole, and 3 Evenly. Literally the side deck, the goal was keep it as simple as possible and just play the most generic cards that I could, because literally this format there was so many decks that you could play, and to try to build a side deck that would work against anything was really difficult in some situations. And so it's like literally I just theorized it down to the point where it's like if I'm playing against back row decks, it's literally Denko and Evenly. If I'm playing against combo heavy decks, it's cards like Book of Eclipse, Dark Hole, and Evenly match. And simply Dark Hole, because if they set up things like Ibly or Gimmick Puppet, cards like Lightning Storm and whatnot become dead because they'll only affect the opponent's monsters. And there are times where you want to wipe your own side of the board too. And since Dark Hole does that, it's such a great card to play. And same with Book of Eclipse. There was actually a game, I broke the guy's board by activating Dark Hole first. He used to let it go, and then I changed Book of Eclipse. And he was on branded in case it was a little unclear. But chain Book of Eclipse, so now the branded opening and stuff won't be able to protect them because they'll all be flip face down. And then it's like auto wipe the board. And then draw was just the only hand trap I felt like would actually do anything against most decks, especially if they love to search, draw, or do anything else. It's also good for the mirror match.
Right. Well, amazing. Thank you so much for the deck profile. Any last shout outs?
Shout out to Assad for rooming with me for LA. Shout out to everyone who did manage to top from Toronto. And then shout outs to everyone from Toronto who loves playing the game and humors me by allowing me to play the full hand loop combo even when they don't have to and they know it's game.
Amazing. Thank you.
Take care.